maybe better on point. I'm not. What do you think, Wolf?
This matchup could really go either way. I'm really leaning towards GuMiho myself. I think he played a really good game the last few times you've seen him. ByuL is, again, we talked about it, the only player in the top winners ranking right now for CJ Entus right now. Was the best Zerg in the world last season. But I feel like GuMiho, with the drop pressure we've been seeing from him in his last few games in Pro League, really is going to do a number on ByuL. But it was the hardest prediction by far of the entire night, I think.
Yeah. It's funny. I thought you voted for ByuL, so I was like waiting to hear your counterpoints and stuff like that. But yeah, that's pretty much what I feel about GuMiho as well.
Yeah,
I think he looked really fantastic.
Pretty sure I went for GuMiho, like in the official vote.
I'm like, I hope you went for GuMiho, man, if you feel that strongly about him winning.
I do.
And obviously, I mean, Frost is a very big map. Spawning positions definitely do matter. If they're at cross spawns, I think ByuL would have a bit of a better time holding off the drops. I mean, he also knows that GuMiho is very drop-heavy Terran. Like, he always goes for drops in pretty much every matchup. Likes to do it a lot versus Protoss specifically, but does not hold back against Zerg either.
Yeah, he's just a hyper-aggressive player. I remember when I was casting with Caldor and we were getting excited for Heart of the Swarm and everything was getting announced slowly, like kind of coming out, BlizzCon and stuff of that nature. GuMiho was very adamant, like, medevac boost is broken. It should be taken out of the game. I will destroy everybody. He didn't have the best Heart of the Swarm, but he had his moments for sure, and a lot of it was due to his insane drop multitasking. Sometimes you see GuMiho like down 100 supply in a game, he doesn't leave and just keeps harassing and like makes a bunch of bunkers, and like eventually the player he's playing against just gets shut down so hard by his drops that he eventually ends up winning the game. It's happened so many times in the past.
Well, let's take a look at where we're at right now. Blaze did win over Hush in a quick PvP. And then Ryung, surprising everyone, does take down Hero and makes it 2-0 for MVP. So we are going into GuMiho versus ByuL now to decide, will MVP get the clean sweep of CJ, or is ByuL going to keep their hopes alive?
It's tough to say right now, but I mean, I'm leaning towards GuMiho myself. But I'm really worried because you said that. I'm like, did I type the wrong name in earlier? Because I feel really strongly about something. I look like an idiot.
I mean, I'm not 100% sure. I just think this was like my risky prediction of the day. That's why I'm like, I feel like most people win for ByuL, and that's why it felt risky to me, even though I felt like GuMiho was going to win.
Yeah, I did vote for GuMiho. I just checked.
Okay. All right. Well, we're on the same page here.
Okay.
ByuL, he's had some trouble in the past dealing with pressure, not performing as well in finals. We saw him go down to his teammate Hero in the SSL finals once. You and Moonlake did cast that one.
Yeah. ByuL is a monster in Pro League, 5-2. But the consistency we saw from him last year in individual leagues, it's not there. But this is a best of one. He's 2-0 versus Terran right now. GuMiho's on about half and half at 3-4 currently, but I am more impressed with GuMiho's recent games than I am with ByuL's, to be totally honest.
Yeah, me too. And I think he's going to do well on the map too. We'll see. You know, these guys have played 8 games. They're 4-4 so far. GuMiho definitely standing up to ByuL, even through ByuL's strong play in Heart of the Swarm.
Well, it looks like the Foreigners are split on this one 50-50. And looks like only Kanata actually going for ByuL, whereas the other commentators are going for GuMiho.
Yeah, so pretty quickly split there. Evenly split, I should say. 4-3 for GuMiho. So let's go into game number 3 and see who will come out victorious. Down here in the bottom right, the Teal Terran, once again, it is GuMiho from MVP.
And down here the bottom left for CJ, it is ByuL, 2015's most consistent Zerg. And CJ's most consistent player this season of Pro League, but now he is their last hope. He will have to win this match to force the final game with Bunny and Pet to potentially get them to an ace match. And
you guys who are watching Pro League for the first time in a long time perhaps, or did not get the news, this is of course Frost, a map that you might recognize from last season's Pro League 2015. We're bringing some of the old maps back. We got Frost, King's Hazel Station, and Overgrowth in the pool now. Will be used here and there. in coordinates with the other maps that we have chose, a bunch of the other maps that we had from round 1 of this year's Pro League. So we're bringing it back, see how it works with Legacy of the Void, and so far we've had a lot of fun matches on these maps.
These maps are, in my opinion, the best maps you've ever had in contemporary StarCraft 2. And I refer to contemporary StarCraft 2 as basically like the last half of Heart of the Swarm and Legacy of the Void, right? And some of these maps were like on their way out towards the last half of Heart of the Swarm, but Frost was my least favorite, but I still like it more than Ruins of Saris and some of the other maps we currently have. I think it was very well designed, and there's so much good data on this map to show how good it is, as well as King Sejong Station, which is, I think, probably like the best map of all time.
Yeah, it's definitely up there. You know, Daybreak, Whirlwind, those are the other maps that get mentioned a lot as well. But King Sejong Station is up there, if not number 1, definitely top 3. And this map, too, you were talking about results. I was taking a look at Wikipedia, and it's basically 50%. It's like 51%, I think, pretty much for all matchups.
Okay.
So, you know, 51-49.
Sure.
For like Terran to Zerg or, you know, whatever. I don't know the specific numbers, but I remember taking a look, and it is very, very even. And same for Sejong Station and same for Overgrowth. So definitely very balanced maps, if that's what you want to look at in terms of a good map. But, you know, outside of that, they also provide really fun games. I mean, even the couple of the games we had on King Sejong Station, one of them was like Air Mech versus Zerg, and ByuL tore it apart, you know.
Yeah.
And it's just a lot of fun games so far.
Well, in this particular game, we're at horizontal spawns, so the rush distance not as far as it could be crosswise. And ByuL will just now get his late scout off. He actually scouted vertically first. Scouts and hides the scout, so GuMiho actually doesn't know where his opponent is. His Reaper is looking for that, but will not be successful in finding it. And back at home, it's 2-base Lair, so it could even be Nidus play here coming out of ByuL. GuMiho went for a CC first, which is very uncommon currently on 4-player maps because the Reaper Scout is so valuable and it can really mess with what the Zerg wants to do. Even though in the past, like it's like, oh, 4-player map, big map, CC first is great. Without the Reaper, sometimes you are a bit weak on scouting, and the Reaper could have maybe confirmed that it was a lair. But right now, GuMiho is totally in the dark, and I think ByuL knows that with how well he's been hiding this Overlord.
Yeah, and let's see exactly how many gases ByuL does take. So far, only 2. He would have liked to take them a little bit earlier, the other 2, if he was going for a Spire. So I think he might be right, and this should be a Nidus coming up here pretty quickly.
He doesn't have that many units just yet, though. You know, it's like he's really heavily staying on double tech, and there is the Spire. So I was leaning towards Nidus myself, but you know, he just never made units. So the Spire's going to be the logical choice here.
I guess it's just get those gas a little bit earlier. Make sure you have 200 gas right when you get that lair. But you are right in saying that it is a very quick lair. And definitely it might be something that GuMiho is not expecting. But he is going to put on a bit of pressure here, and he should be able to get some scouting information, at least that 3rd base is a bit late here for the Zerg.
Yeah, it's not going to be a lot of tank evac potential here. Obviously, if the Marines do die or if he wants to sacrifice them, he can save the tank that way and continue to do damage. An aggressive move here like this, though, could see the Spire, and that would be great for GuMiho. He could respond really well with that. Just going to drop this tank out in tank mode for now. Going to target down this Queen. So far unsuccessful, but he should be able to finish it off. Down it goes, and will, you know, so far see only the lair, not the Spire just yet. The Spire is actually at the natural.
Yeah, so not 100% sure what is going on. As you said, seeing that lair, very important. He's making a late Cyclone here. I heard the Korean commentators going, what is that? You know, because we definitely do not see this very often at all, especially at this timing. And I wonder what he's going to be using that for here.
To be honest, it almost looks like...
Well, Wolf dying here.
Excuse me, a misclick or something. I can guess that maybe he's doing this because he's not sure what he's up against. He just wants to be safe, but usually in this matchup, the siege tank is better for that.
Yeah, I wonder what he is exactly. If he's happy with that, he's clicking it. He's like, I suppose he could use it to push away the mutas just a little bit easier. Obviously, not too many mutas out on the map just yet, only 6. And they are going to join up here, but he is going to keep that around here. So I suppose, regardless of this, if this is a mistake or not, it will have its own use. And does push that Overseer back. Is coming back over here, getting ready for the defense against the Mutas. And still just staying on 3 base so far is GuMiho. He's got his own 3rd CC, of course, completed here, and is finally going to float that down as he feels safe to finally take that 3rd base.
All right, test. Okay, my voice is coming back to life. I don't know what.
You're surviving again.
I ate a fly or something. I have no idea.
Ooh.
So sorry, everybody.
It's okay. But you can see the power of the Cyclone. Actually, it's beginning to work its magic. As long as if he had vision of that of the Mutas as they went up the ramp there, he would have been able to kill 1 Muta. And every time the Mutas fly into range, as long as GuMiho's on top of his micro with the Cyclone, it will be able to kill a Muta every time, as long as he keeps vision of it.
And he can't really bring Lings with this. On the high ground here, obviously he loses vision. That's a bit annoying, and that's why he's attacking from this location. But yeah, the Cyclone definitely showing some utility here. Whether it was intentional or not, as you mentioned, absolutely getting value so far. The stim is pretty late because of especially the goop that went down on that tech lab. So ByuL a little bit more comfortable versus this large bio army. It doesn't have baneling speed yet, but it's nearly done. And he's just looking to catch some reinforcements between the bases. ByuL along with Leenock, I would say, the 2 best Zergs last year at doing 2-base Spire. And even in Legacy of the Void, he's making it work with flying colors here, finding damage despite the Cyclone, despite the turrets that are coming up right now.
Yeah, stim about to complete here, but infantry upgrades in general very late. No combat shields just yet, hasn't even started it. And I mean, he does have the +1, but he would love for those Marines to have that extra health here in this game.
It's like, oh my God, I don't even want to go into I don't even want to go into that accent, Valdez. I have too many things to say. But 2-2 even timing for these 2 players. Stim is finally done. And without Stim, you can never move across the map, but with the delays, I mean, this map is pretty big. Baneling speed's already done. You definitely can't really commit to an attack without combat shields. Yeah, you can clear up some creep, but that's about as far as this is going to go.
Yeah, I mean, he might want to consider throwing out a drop towards that 4th base, which he should know is coming up here in just a bit. Widowmine's in a nice place there, actually. Going to kill one of the Mutas, but there's only 1 turret in this main and not much else. So he's going to get on top of this production, force the units back of GuMiho to defend here.
GuMiho is really struggling right now. He's going to lose a reactor as well as this tech lab here. Not the tech lab that's researching combat shields, thankfully for GuMiho. That would have been huge. I think that's what he was looking for, as he realized, of course, that with the Mutas, when he saw that 1 Marine, he's like, oh, you still don't have combat shields yet either. Now, drop gets shut down as well, and ByuL is actually kind of dominating this game right now. He has full control. He's got creep spread on both sides. He has a 4th base that GuMiho can't even touch, and he's going for Hive, which is the scary thing in this matchup, right? Ultras. The Terran strategy of this matchup so far in Korea especially has been kill him before Ultras. And if you don't do that, it doesn't go too well so far.
Yeah, from what we've seen, at least, that is the truth. And GuMiho is going to lose this drop, but the Muta's out of position here. But look at just how many units are out of the map here for ByuL. Nice Widowmine hits. 1 of them does go down, as ByuL does extend off the creep there. But GuMiho having that trouble against this army so far.
Just too many speed banes. There's 22 of them on the map. He can't engage with this, even with perfect splits, and he's attacking into creep. So what's he gonna do? He can't fight. And ByuL, is now starting to build that gas bank for the Ultras. The Hive's done. We're going to see an Ultralisk Cavern come up probably instantly. He does have Corruptors on the way, so it could potentially go into Broodlords as well. He's adding a lot of them in fact. Yeah. Like, is that you, Dark? What's going on here? +3 attack coming out for those Ultras. The Lings. Sensor Tower will be forced to cancel here. GuMiho will hold on to this 4th base for now.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. I mean, he does have the melee upgrades, and here comes an attack. In fact, the Speed Bane's rolling in, and the Lings do get us around onto that tank. The Corruptor's helping out a lot here against the Liberators, but there's not anything else on the ground as the Mutas come into the 4th base. Do not help out in that fight.
Yeah, they kill 11 Harvesters, and they're going to kill the Sensor Tower, but their lack of presence in that fight, yeah, it hurts ByuL in a way, but I don't think that would have done much versus all those Liberators. I think he just committed a bit too hard to fighting, didn't realize the Liberators were going to be there. The Corruptor choice still not making full sense to me without a Greater Spire here. Yeah, it's going to give his army, his air army, more power. But I mean, the Liberators are going to always win this fight, especially once he starts to get a high count of them. He already has 8, and he can make 4 at a time, as we've seen already. So, not so sure about this composition choice, but there's the Ultralisk Cavern, the more standard. Oh boy,
no. The Banelig's rolling in. There's so many weak SCVs, 12 of them go down for about 6 Banelings. So, definitely taking a little chunk out of GuMiho's economy. They're now down to only 52 workers.
GuMiho is also behind in upgrades. 3-3 coming up faster for ByuL. The Adrenal Glands we were talking about. ByuL's Flock going to look for more damage. There's no 5th base for GuMiho. Looks like he might have been trying for that. Oh, if he commits here without paying attention, he's going to be in a world of hurt. That's so many Liberators.
Oh boy, and he's not paying attention. Lose about 6 of his mutas. Is going to have to back off. Meanwhile, looks like GuMiho wants to put on the pressure. He knows that a transition may be coming out of ByuL here in just a bit and wants to attack or at least fight before those Ultras can get on the map.
All right, GuMiho just going to kite back here. There's so many Banelings, but look at his position. The Marauders in the front absorbing damage, and the Corruptors are worthless in this fight. Yeah. Still finding no utility with those. And I just have to continue to bring up the question, ask the rhetorical question, like, why did he make those? What are they for? Because they're not killing ground units, they're not getting on top of medevacs, they're not dealing with the Liberators either, and it's just making his ground army weaker, and it slowed down his Ultras.
Yeah, I suppose also that GuMiho's doing a good job of keeping the Liberators out of the fight for now, you know, keeping them back for defense, fighting against the mutas that he knew would be harassing. But once he does add them in, I suppose the Corruptors will have some use, especially with the Vipers that are coming in too. But so far, you are right, not having the best impact. Here we go, Parachuting Bomb coming down onto the medevacs. GuMiho is forced back here as all the medevacs in the sky do go down.
But he still wins the fight. There's just not enough to follow up. And good splits by GuMiho in a crazy tense situation. And now all these expensive Corruptors are going to die. And for what? What do they accomplish here? And these Liberators are going to come back now to try to help defend this Bio force. The Bio, it doesn't have 3-3 yet. +3 is already done for these Lings, but again, GuMiho trades here and still keeps his Liberators alive. And all the Corruptors down, and now what's going to deal with these Liberators? You know, they're out of control. He has way too many now.
There's not even a Spore at the 3rd base. That is a huge oversight. He needs something there to deal with the Liberators. A huge pull now on the 3rd base as nothing is mining here. And the Liberators are going to ransack this entire base. Looks like one is going to deal with the 4th base there. But even the Corruptors, as they pop out, should be able to take some damage here.
And any Ultras he wanted to ever make in this game, if he just positions these Liberators correctly, will just instantly be killed. So much casting here on these Liberators that even if he splits, he's going to lose a lot of them.
Oh boy!
But look at all the damage here. 20 drones nearly dead, and ByuL, you know, he's got a bank still, but he's like, can I make Ultras versus this?
So
can I make Corruptors versus this? You know? Like, what do I even build versus this?
He has 3
anymore?
Banelings left over. And he needs to save some of that gas for Banelings because there's more and more bio coming across the map. GuMiho on 4 bases in the planetary is so safe, and there is still no answer for these Liberators in the sky.
That Liberator's killing larva. Okay, this is almost pure Marauder here. These Banelings aren't ready. The Widow Mines are coming in. He doesn't even need burrow upgrade for these. Look at this. Every Baneling gets canceled, and that should be game over here for ByuL.
That should be it. Just jumping onto the Banelings as they're morphing. The follow-up of the Liberators just ransacking the entire Zerg base.
And these Corruptors here, yeah, there's not a lot of Marines on the ground compared to Marauders, but there's still enough here. And Liberators get pushed back because a lot of them were low from those earlier parasitic bombs. 4 Ultras are about to pop out, but they're just too little too late. So much damage being done. Another hatchery goes down.
He needed to commit to those Ultras a lot sooner here. Even the larvae are being killed by the Liberators as they're making the eggs there, I should say. And the Ultra does pop out, and some Blinding Clouds are helping out.
It's like one Ultra could actually kill GuMiho's entire army with Blinding Clouds going down. I'm like not even being sarcastic, like literally happened.
The nightmare of every Terran as they sleep here. But still, I mean, it's going to clean off that army, of course, but there is still so much left over. The economy of GuMiho is not affected at all. Meanwhile, ByuL has lost 2 bases. His Widow Mine's not even cleaned up. Looks like he's going to lose another base here. Just stimming in.
I think that one Widow Mine just killed 14 drones as well. He's down to 30 Harvesters. That base is dead, as you just mentioned. And GuMiho's army is struggling here, but eventually, if he stops rallying his barracks for just a few seconds here, he's going to have a large enough army.
All he's got to do is group up back at home and go for the counterattack. Now that there's only ultras here, I suppose these Marauders aren't doing a terrible job. But Marauders, or rather, ultras still very scary. Looks like a follow-up drop is going to come into the main base. This ultra will take some damage, and ByuL is really struggling here.
I mean, look at what GuMiho is making. He's actually just making only medevacs. He's missing some cycles on his barracks, I would say, to say the least. Now he's actually starting to use those, but medevacs are going to be part of the key here at you know, just outrunning these ultras. There's no air army, and there never will be because he doesn't have enough money. And look at this. The snipe on the Ultralisk Cavern here is huge. And what's he going to do here? Parasitic bomb the medevacs to try to stop him from getting away. That's his only option. Okay, here come the Corruptors, and he should be able to clean this army up, but every unit he uses is so difficult, or every unit he loses, I should say, excuse me, is so difficult to replace. Look at the production tab. Nothing being built for ByuL. Every choice he makes is so expensive.
Don't count out those 6 lings, man, with the adrenal glands. Are going to run into the main and kill everything. You'll see. But
GuMiho needs to get that base up, though. I mean, his economy's not amazing.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's a lot better than ByuL's at the moment, I suppose. As another Ultra is going to kill everything that the Terran owned and loved here. Just delay this base a little bit longer.
What am I going to help support here? They don't care about armor. There's a big shot there. We'll have to kind of kite back against these minerals, but he's using the minerals against the Ultras here, targeting them down one by one. More Widowmines coming in to do that extra damage. And ByuL's army is starting to vanish. And even when you look at the supplies, it looks close, but so much of this army is Corruptors. Those 2 Ultras are low on health. He can't commit to an engage with them. Finally, GuMiho is going to be able to start mining again. ByuL has made this game last longer than I think GuMiho should have let it.
These ultras are helping them out for sure, and the Widowmine's going to get that final shot, and the last of ByuL's army is going to go down here. In terms of his ground army, he's going to fly away with his Corruptors and make 10 lings.
He has 10 Corruptors, 11 lings, and like queens. I guess he has like 1 Viper.
He doesn't have a single queen on the map right now.
Oh, he doesn't either, yeah. He can't afford it. Actually, yes, he can. He's just not. I mean, I guess he barely has any hatcheries to make them out of. I mean, this is a lost game for ByuL. He lost control earlier on. He made a lot of Corruptors early on, and I don't know. He was not making them dark Corruptors. That's for sure. Really, he's killing the medevacs here, so it's hard to micro against the Banelings. But so what if there aren't any Banelings?
Yeah, Banelings all die. GG, and MVP takes the 3-0 over CJ Entis and GuMiho, taking out one of the former best players here in Korea by sniping ByuL.
Very, rocky game from GuMiho in the mid game. Took a lot of damage from those Mutalisks. And ByuL was cutting off reinforcements. He was sniping SCVs. He was microing against the Cyclone. But he made a ton of Corruptors. And, once that happened, the Corruptors, like, what were they? I'm trying to find, normally when you're dark, the Corruptors kill the medevacs. They last longer than the Mutalisks. You can snipe them. Then Banelings, when you have that good of creep spike, ByuL's creep spike was insane, and GuMiho barely pushed it back. It's awesome, but when you're against that many Liberators, should you really still be making them? The Ultralisks were late, and we saw how well the Ultralisks paired with the army. If you had them earlier instead of making all those Corruptors, I think you would have had an easier time of things.
Yeah, so we do not get to see Pet here up against Bunny in that final game, as MVP does clean sweep CJ Entis, something that we do not get to see very often. So MVP looking to make their mark here in round number 2, going to the ace matchup against SKT, and now taking out CJ.
And, a big win because of the 3-0 as well. The indicator points you get from this, so important. Going to make it, potentially feasible for MVP to get to the playoffs here in round 2. It's possible, and only dropping 1 point to SKT, now getting 3 points off CJ, that's going to be more than many teams may do versus SKT.
Yeah, they're sitting now at 1-1 with a +2 indicator. Doing that math very quickly in my head, Wolf. I know you're impressed. You don't have to say much. It's okay. And I guess we're going to go into our MVP interview with someone from MVP. Who do you think it's going to be?
I'd have to go with GuMiho, beating ByuL here in that last game. Although I suppose, the thing is, a lot of fans might look at Ryung and be like, well, he beat Hero, oh my god. But Hero beat himself in that game as far as I'm concerned. That was not a good game.
I would not recommend that you tell your friends to watch that VOD. I'd say, please hide that under the bed. We don't really want to see that. That's one that Hero's going to be thinking about for a while, I'm sure. I just did not have the cleanest game. But I'd like to hear from GuMiho. He's on a bit of a roll here, defeating Myung-Sik from SKT and now ByuL from CJ Anthus. It's a couple